I'm ready. Oh, no. Diana, we're on. No. Okay, sorry. Welcome. It's good to feel like I can tell people to shh once again. I like the power. So we're back, that's good. A couple announcements, I'm going to run through a few. One, this week is Senior Covenant Group, 2 to 3:30 meets again. Wednesday, Seekers peers into the lost statements of Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas and Johari Window. That's Wednesday at 10. Everyone's invited to that. Every Thursday, if you consider yourself a senior, it's defined pretty loosely, we're having a little pizza lunch party right around noon. Talk to Maud, Pizza's favorite new customer, Kelly, the purple-haired one right back over there. She's the organizer of that. Let's see. We're back at Laundry Love in August. So if you've been a volunteer there, we've been outside. We kind of canceled it. I've just sort of been doing it from the outside, just handing out quarters in a pretty cursory kind of way. But just if you're beginning to think about that, we want to return to that ministry that we do. There's a small committee forming to replace what's up here. So Kelly and I threw up some artwork because Dan's paintings went down. So we just thought we'd give us something to look at. There's a logo we'll show you later afterwards. We got Abraham until August, so that's good news. Not good news is we didn't really give Severin a proper departure. He's gone for the summer. No, we didn't, Well, he's a hack anyway, so whatever. I know. General Assembly is 2 weeks away, and there's a chance to register. It's only a couple $100, which, I could probably find you a scholarship. We got some money for that if you want to be a part of General Assembly. Great programs from Thursday all the way to Sunday. On that Sunday, we're going to do a sort of cursory program and try to find some way to show. We're going to do our own service for probably about 40 minutes, and then we're going to show some of GA in a way we haven't exactly figured out yet. I could use some adult teachers for one-off classes with RE. Kelly's doing a thing with the kids today with tattoos, but if anybody wants to work with the kids on we're doing one Sunday at a time. We have the teens coming in. There's 3 or 4 of them who are going to support the program until we hire somebody. Hopefully we will do that by, August-ish. Let's see. This afternoon, I'm on a Zoom program on grief and loss during the pandemic, so that if anyone feels like they want to process some of what's gone on in the pandemic, there'll be a number of chaplains there. We're going to talk about, sort of the experience of being in a pandemic and in general the people who are grieving and such matters. So there's been a group that started to talk about long overdue stewardship plan giving. So we're kind of in the midst of that. You can join in on those conversations. Come talk to me. We're having another meeting in a few weeks. We've sort of got a cursory sense of how we're going to give people the opportunity to donate to PUC in their wills and such, even before that. This coming Saturday, we're going to do another run-through of Mistakes and Miracles, which is my sort of favorite anti-racist book. It's by a UU minister, as we talked about before, and a layperson, and it's specifically related to UU churches, so it's really particularly poignant. So we're going to have people lead chapters and play in. That starts at 10 this Saturday, runs for 7 or 8 weeks moving into the future. Come see me or, one of us on the transformation team. Tuesday, the book group meets for Interior Chinatown, which is a book that they're reading, and that is at 11? 10. And that's Zoom too?
Yeah, last month of Zoom.
Last month of Zoom before the group convenes together. So see Robin if you want to participate in that, if you have any questions, and there you go. So I'm going to invite Darcy up to read our chalice words while I light our chalice.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Steve walked in and was talking to people, and I was talking to people. He said, you know, church is really fun, isn't it? And it is. It's fun, among other things. Okay, this chalice lighting. Let there be light, the light of joy, the light of happiness, and the light of contentment. May it illuminate our paths and fill our lives with peace. And let there be dark, for it is from our dark places that we are brought forward, tried and tested, and impelled toward growth. It is in these places that we realize compassion and we learn to love. And there was day and there was night, and there was joy and there was sorrow, and it was good.
Thank you, Darcy. So this is a time of year when you hear a lot of statements, sentiments like the future is yours, go grab it, or you don't find the path, you make it, that ring out across auditoriums or of temporary gowned graduates. 'Tis the season we hear truths mostly designed for young ears. However, most of us are out of school, and what kernels hold up for us in terms of truth is the message of today. So what secular words of wisdom might most aid us out of school for 30 plus years? That's the theme. And given this is the first year of sort of public graduations where they're at least even a possibility in some form or another, I felt compelled to write a graduation speech for the rest of us designed to keep us hip. I picked the theme of tattoos. So a lot of people in the present generation get tattoos, a lot more than in the generation that most of us are in. And as I shared with a few kids back when I was in my mid-20s, I decided I was going to get a tattoo written like a rope around my belt. I didn't. So today I offer you the opportunity, maybe even a tease of a reset. You get a chance to graduate to the rest of your life. So graduation are ceremonies, chances to think big thoughts that remind you that your purpose is not to find meaning in the world, is to create that meaning in the world. And it might help to think that you're doing this in conjunction with God or some broader sense of justice or right and wrong. It might be time to give yourself a little tattoo. So, let's see. In the pews, you'll find little pens, and there's a little green slip that's sort of your cheat sheet. The pen, I would use regular pens if you brought one on the sheets, and I would use the markers as a marker for yourself. So there's some tattoos we're going to take a quick peek at up here. So this is Kelly's tattoo. It has her sister's name in it. This is George Stein's tattoo. And that's another one of Kelly's tattoos. And this is Mary Ann Stein's tattoo. It says, "Born to be mild." I think it's funny. And then Allison's tattoo is on, we have on the little bulletin you have a picture of that. So there we go. All right, I gotta shut this off for a minute. So, tattoos can be about liberation or about a number of things. One thing we're not liberated to do is sing along with the hymn, but Abraham is going to take us away with our opening hymn.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
We're going to see in a minute a couple videos from the transformation team. I just wanted to make note that before we meet again will be the Juneteenth celebration, which is acknowledges the liberation of slaves. I hadn't really quite grasped the story until I was preparing for this. So on January 1st, 1863 was the Emancipation Proclamation, but that didn't come with that much fanfare. In fact, there were a number of things that sort of held back the freedom of the slaves. There was, it's really not exactly clear. There was a sense that news got censored. There was a sense that people wanted the slaves for one more harvest season before they were released. But in June of 1865, Major General Gordon Granger with a flag and a gun went to Galveston, Texas, and shot up in the air and made an announcement of the freedom of the slaves, and that was responded to with shock and glee. You can imagine by which parties were shock and glee, maybe both, and or maybe one anyway, shock mostly. So people then started to leave the plantation and regather with family members. So that really, Juneteenth is really the sort of formal celebration of the freedom of the slaves. So that's what you hear in the buzz about that. People could finally sing their freedom, and they could finally travel and move around quite a bit. So there was quite a bit of a migration right after that. People were praying and partying and singing and doing that kind of thing. So that's sort of a reclaimed holiday for us, and an honorable and a good one too. So let's see those videos. We got a video from Andrea headed our way, and then one from me. These are things that'll be on the website for other people perusing the website.
My name is Andrea. This is my transformational moment of 2020. I used to believe that having been reared in a family that was an early adopter of anti-racism, I had nothing to learn. After many uncomfortable conversations about race, I've learned that racism is so woven into the fabric of American society that we do and say things every single day that perpetuate the system. It's been worth every minute learning more, and I won't be stopping now. We can do better.
Go.
My name is Reverend Steve Wilson. I'm the minister of Pacific Unitarian Church. We've been engaged in a more than a year-long sort of effort to transform this place into something that's more like the world we need to see. And for all of us, that's a personal journey. I think for me, looking at it in a new way, you know, I've always considered myself to not be a racist, but you know, in the way that so many of us have transformed ourselves, we kind of realize how complicit we have been with a system that's racist, and how much of the dominant culture of white people just, you know, sits on and stifles the voice of other people. That's been a realization for me, a hard one, and one that I ebb and flow with. So it's not a pure journey. I did not know how bad it was from after the point of Reconstruction up to the 1960s. That was a historical revelation for me. And the idea that the act that brought, the Homestead Act that enticed white Europeans from Europe and denied recently liberated slaves from slavery, giving them no land. I had not known that one particular historical fact. And just the more you explore, you realize more and more how difficult it is, or has been, for people of color, particularly black people, to rise above it, and all the quiet little motivations that happen. So it's been hard, and you know, I'm certainly not there yet, but I do believe that we're on the right journey, and that if this place could sort of get to a tipping point of being, you know, more multiple generations, more people of color, this place will explode and be the beautiful place it already is on the hill, and could become the beautiful, an even more beautiful version of what it is. So that's exciting to me, and I hope we get there. It's a great place, period, but boy, our achievements sit on a lot of privilege, and I think that story needs to be told, and I think I need to continue to hear it. Well, thanks. Diana's going to share our children's moment. We have any young people, they can come forward and sit. She's going to tell us a tale of Mala, yeah. Sorry about the name, screwed up. Diana. All right.
There's one, I see one, I'm looking for some more. Yay! And I'm having trouble with the microphone, of course. I'm taking this off. I've been fully vaccinated, parents are worried about it. Quite a long time.
Here we go.
Thank you. And is there going to be a picture here?
Yeah, there'll be pictures. Yep, there's gonna
You know, if we weren't taping this, I would sit down on the rugs with you because it seems to me that I don't want to be talking at you. You're vaccinated. Well, what I'm going to tell you, this is Malala, and I think probably you know.
Closer to the mic, Doug.
I think you probably know about Malala. I'm also looking at the grown-ups in the audience. Malala was a Pakistani young woman. Is the mic on? Malala? Malala?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll try to hold it closer. Malala is a Pakistani young woman who now lives in England. She was blessed to be the daughter of parents who believed in education in Pakistan for girls and boys at a time not that long ago that is still festering a bit in that part of the world where girls were not allowed to go to school. There was even a time when it was against the law. But she persisted. Her father and mother persisted in supporting her to go to school. And Malala, this is her motto, you can see up here, "All I want is education, and I am afraid of no one." She was continuously going out and speaking to groups of people in her country about the value of education for girls. Is that something you've ever had to question? I'm looking at you as a young woman. What?
No.
You're not a woman, okay, but have you ever had to question that, I'm saying? The value of education, right? No. So it's something that we take for granted here in this country, that education is for girls and for boys, but that was not the reality of her world. So Malala was taking a lot of exams so that she could go to university and college, and she was on a bus coming back from taking a very big exam, which she thought she had done very well at. And someone stopped the bus. A man in a mask and a kind of a hoodie. It wasn't a hoodie, but it was kind of a hat and a mask. Got on the bus. This was not during the pandemic. It was not a pandemic mask. Got on the bus and said, "Who is named Malala?" And she and her best friend grasped hands together, and somehow he figured out who she was, and he went up to her and he shot her. Malala was in a coma, partly induced by the doctor so that she could survive for many, many days. And at one point, she got flown to a military hospital in another part of Pakistan, then to England. She had many, many surgeries. And still, she persisted. I have a number of books here that I'm not going to read to you because I know you can all read at different levels. This one is my favorite. It's called Malala's Magic Pencil, and she actually wrote it herself. I don't know how old you are. It might be a little bit easy for you, but it's about envisioning a new world, and it's from her own writing. The pictures are wonderful. This one is called Free as a Bird, The Story of Malala. These are all in the San Pedro Library and in the Palos Verdes libraries. This one is one she wrote not too long ago called We Are Displaced, and it's her story and the story of other girls and boys who are displaced. And I think what's wonderful here is that she has not stopped. After she was recovering from her surgeries, she went to university at Oxford University, which is one of the, it's like their Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and she did very well. She graduated from university during the pandemic, like some of your brothers and sisters, right? This is her book, the early book, I think this was 2015, I Am Malala, the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. And this is a picture. I love this. Because I thought some people thought Father's Day was today. It's not. It's next week. But this is a picture of Malala and her father, who owned a group of schools. And he's continued to be very active in education through her foundation. And then, one more thing. You can get this on Netflix or Amazon or whatever, but also from your public library. He named me Malala. And it's not that long. I think it's about 83 minutes. But it's well worth a watch. And why do you need to know about this? Well, maybe you don't, but the struggle for education for everybody is worldwide. It's something we can do something about, and that's what Malala has continued to do. She has a foundation, and I could stand up here and dramatize, act out the shooting and all that stuff, but the shooting is not what's important. What's important? That's right. And that she stood up for it in her own country when it was being made against the law, and she continues to stand up for it. And one of the things I read about her recently is that she started a school in the Gaza Strip for boys and girls who are under siege all the time, a safe place to go get your education. So that's all I have today, except what I want to say is, yay for Malala's father and her mother, yay for Malala and her family, and look up her foundation sometime. There may be activities, there might even be internships and things like that in the future, so you can be part of that. Thank you.
Cool. So it's now time for joys and concerns, and Leanne's going to come up and light candles for those who wish to share a joy or a concern. She's going to light them, and we're going to keep our distance for who knows how much longer. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Leanne's going to light one final candle for all that remains unsaid. And Diana and Darcy and I are going to share a prayer, provided the microphone gods allow us to be that close together. There you go. I'm going to go over here. Okay. Let's try this. I'll do this. You're going to use this.
Who?
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
There we
Okay.
go.
Duh.
Wish us luck. So these come from UU Pastor Meg Riley, who's one of the leaders. And we're just going to read these through in a sequence almost like a mantra, so I encourage you to find a nice still spot. May I know that there is no wrong path.
May I know that there is no wrong path.
May I know that there is no wrong path.
May I know that there are many paths, each one different.
May I know that there are many paths, each one different.
May I know that there are many paths, each one different.
May I trust myself to know that I am held, I am loved.
May I trust myself enough to know that I am held, I am loved.
May I trust myself enough to know that I am held, I am loved.
And that I am accepted for doing the best I can.
I am accepted for doing the best that I can.
I am accepted for doing the best that I can.
Thanks. May I know that there is no wrong path. May I know that there are many paths, each one different. May I trust myself to know that I am held, am loved, that I am accepted for doing the best I can. Let's hold that supportive tone and words into a moment of music. Before we begin, if anyone wants to spread out a little bit from the people they came with, well, we'll get into that later. I would suggest you do so politely. No. This sermon actually sort of demands a sense of as much privacy as you can have in public. You can move or not, that's up to you. If you want to play along, there's markers around. I don't know if you have one. You might use your own pen. The markers might be a little bold on the print. So, graduations, I need not tell you, are a common cultural experience in any given year, especially now that we graduate kids from nursery school. The chances that any one of us might go to a graduation ceremony is pretty good. I'm for it. Such rituals can be meaningful. And the average commencement speech one might hear at a graduation is some sort of praise for what's been accomplished, right? Some inspiration for, as Dr. Seuss puts it, all the places you will go. A reminder that, as the cliche says, this is the first day of the rest of your life, and that you should not be, as Robert Frost suggests, be afraid to travel the road less traveled. In the classic graduation speech, students are asked to find work that we love so much that one never has to work a day in their life, and the cautionary refrain that nothing ever worth doing comes easy. And cliches aside, all that's good advice. It's the kind of thing you hear. However, it's good advice I think we, the kind of seniors, most of us with arthritis, already know. So unlike your average graduating senior stepping out into an unknown fate, which is the kind of cool part of being 18 or 22, we do know in a way that they don't, that the cliche is true, that the years really do just fly by. We know in a way that young people wanting to throw their hats up in the air at the end of a ceremony do not, that no matter what you choose to do, life is full of twists and turns and an unpreparable array of joys and concerns. That was supposed to rhyme better, but anyway. We know that compromise, failure, and disappointment are all part of what we get. We know what that tastes like. The royal we sitting here or watching at home already knows how to be stable and steady. Most of us are so fully immersed in adulthood that we know that the tattoo that speaks to you at the age of 19 might not be who you are at 79. That might sound like a backhanded slight to the generation getting all inked up in their youth, but that's only because it is. However, even if the 19-year-old cannot envision the coming challenge of explaining what the letters L-O-V-E and H-A-T-E on their knuckles might mean to a future employer, or for that matter, a 3-year-old daughter 20 years later, that same person, in a way that we don't necessarily get or struggle to keep alive, is the idea that comfortableness can steal your will. I think the message that we need to hear, or better perhaps the question we need time and a little guidance to engage in, given all the responsibilities, relationships, and commitments we have already likely put into place in our lives, is how we should manage any impulses we have to change. See, I think our graduation speech theme is not so much about what we should aspire to become. We hopefully have already done most of that becoming. The question we need to entertain is what we should do now that we've already become most of who we're going to be. I believe the question most seniors face is, do I bother to upturn the habits to heed a call that beckons to me, that makes me a different me? Or do we ignore those visions and stay the present course? It's a huge, massive, and important question with no right answer. I suspect if we still feel young and healthy enough to make any moves, learn any new things, repair any relationships, whatever the change that bites at your heels, and there's almost always one, right? Like a yappy dog, we have these things that kind of drag at us. We have to figure out that balance. I don't know what the unfinished, unlearned, undone, or unbecome things that call you are, of course, but I do suspect that they're repeating visions of who we should be or could be that come to us. So today's designed as a few couple quick exercises in helping you discover whether you should walk away or towards those unfulfilled ideas that you have about yourself. Maybe what calls you in our unheeded big life changes, like it's finally time to leave that husband or wife of mine. Or maybe what teases you is bringing your partner along with a move to Alaska. Or you've always wanted to be a long-haul truck driver. Or perhaps it's time to reconcile with your kid. Using this brainstorming moment, let's fall into a little bit of a place of quiet. I'm going to keep talking, but I encourage you to sort of find your own private space and see if you have a dream worth following on this graduation-themed day. Maybe your goal is to finally see if you can meditate your way to greater enlightenment. Perhaps it's less challenging than the task of traveling to Tuscany and attempt to eat your way to nirvana. Having said that, maybe for you some of your unfinished business is to finally take seriously the effort required to lower your cholesterol. What keeps calling to you? In this graduation sermon for the rest of us, I'm offering you a couple exercises here. So we're going to begin with a Nike-like enthusiasm to just do it, or to, as the kids now say, live your best life. Let's adopt some of that raw wisdom that youth has in it and throw a little caution to the wind and make a commitment to start. I want you to put your energy into this now. We're going to caution ourselves in a minute. Although this graduation speech has a brake pedal, it's time to press with the accelerator. Tell yourself you're going to strike while the inspiration is hot and move forward with the cliched truth that courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the face of fear. And although I'm not going to stop talking, I pull out your pens and I want you to, pen in hand, focus in the section entitled New Visions of Me. Let's think about what you've got here. Fill in as many of those slots as you can. I drew 2 lines, one for big ideas, one for small. I've titled these life-altering changes or complementary, supplementary changes. This is your brainstorming session. Don't overthink it and honor the privacy of your neighbors, particularly if they're close to you in this life. Their dreams might affect you, so let's respect everyone's independence. We adults sadly know that different visions of ourselves and different values always compete for our attention, but right now let's not bog ourselves down. Let's be spontaneous. I don't know what your secret way or alternative way of living might be, but you might. Brainstorm those up. It might be as non-life-altering as learning how to speak Spanish. It might be selling everything and dedicating your life to a challenged population. It might be exploring the silent, impactful way our culture is racist. I don't know. It's your dream. When you think about the changes, think about what returns to you again and again. For me, one of them is I want to learn how to play guitar. Think about the things that would bring you excitement. That's a good guide. You know what they are, that we all have them. Think about the things that would make you proud of yourself too if you became that person who did that. That's important too. You want to like yourself more at the end of this journey. The philosopher Goethe says that when we make a decision, when we make a commitment, when we act with boldness, the universe aligns itself with our will and empowers us. I like that. Get excited about this new life challenge. The breaks are coming. Don't have any fear. Think about a fresh initiative in addition to your present life. Let the energy of that bold move wash over you. If this is exciting, if you're picking up steam, awesome. Keep going. Don't get ahead of yourself of why you can't or shouldn't make this change. We'll get to the details soon enough. Thinking about living your life with as few barriers as possible. This is you living boldly. I don't know the process to get there, but likely it'll evolve. You might say to yourself, I have kids, I can't leave, or I have a mom nearby in a nursing home. The stability so often hard to find in youth is so often the inverse as we age. For so many seniors in this class before me, understand that changing, especially as you get older, is hard to do. Persevere. Be strong, at least for now. Try not to let your to-do list be daunting. Remember, you're once and for all going to follow your bliss and become that person you've always wanted to be. Say, damn it, I'm not going to give up my dream of finally, whatever the fill in the blank is. Does your unfinished business, your calling, your dream express a deep-seated gift that you're not fully using? Is what calls you a purer, better you? Or in an attempt to get at the future a different way, if you were to imagine yourself on a cycle of reincarnations, in what area do you need to flourish more to make it up that ladder? What more does the you that you have become have to accomplish? Ask yourself in the inverse, what are you afraid you will never do while you still can? You probably have a few things written down, or at least in your head. Remember now, you're not allowed to ask today until later what you're talking about. That's private. I mean that. As any graduation speaker worth their salt would tell you, following your heart is hard, and it involves a certain kind of commitment. So for those who want to chart a course, before you start blabbering about your plan, and both worry those close to you or embarrass yourself until you're at least a little further along in this grand plan, be quiet about it for a while. Okay, we got our dreams, at least hopefully. Let's challenge them. Here are the breaks. Start as best you can to make a list of things you're going to need to do to make this happen. A couple ideas required to get this little new vision of yourself to fruition. Think about a couple details of what it'll take. Maybe it involves setting a month before you're going to make your leap. Move out of your apartment, quit your job, or rally the courage to sign up for yoga. Whatever your bucket list is, start to write in some of the practical steps that will be required to make this change, or even to evaluate your decision. Go ahead. For example, if your dream doesn't come with health insurance, start to figure out what you're going to do about that while you're preparing to make this new step. If your dream doesn't, if you need to call the doctor to get shots for your new travel, you need to look at plane flights, you need to review your resume for the qualifications for your dream job, these are on that list. If it's a location you might want to go live in, maybe it's time to do a reconnaissance trip somewhere to test it out. Will you need to sell your car? Or are you going to take it off the road for a while you follow your dream? Look at all the options required. Keep going till you hit a roadblock that you cannot leap over. Maybe you've already come there. It's very likely that there is no space for these new ideas of you. Or simpler, that it's not worth it. I honor that. You can't live more than one life at a time. You might also have gotten to the point and realized that you can't or won't, for the sake of another, make that change that teases your soul. It just may be that not pursuing this vision of yours for the sake of others is the right decision too. We are interdependent. If so, make sure you're not just being codependent to that person or being a coward. That's a possibility too. And if you are pausing in your dream for others, remind yourself to praise yourself for being so thoughtful. I'm not kidding. Sometimes we need to put the agendas of others first. However, if it is the concern of another that holds you back, apply to that relationship the following simple test. If you were them and they were you, would you want them not to pursue their vision of themselves? Okay, for those who've passed through these filters and still want to pursue their dream, it's time to act. If there's not been anything that stopped you, it's time to find a spot on your body you can cover up kind of easily. You can pull your sock down, you can pull your shirt sleeve down, or you can leave it bold and out. I don't really care. I encourage you to give yourself a tattoo. A word, a symbol, maybe it's Paris, maybe it's I don't know what. That'll remind you of what you called yourself to do here today. You don't need to write big. Most of these markers are permanent, so it's going to take a few days to wash off in the shower. But that's good, because if you're going to take this act seriously, if you're not willing to write a simple logo on your skin, you're probably not that committed to your vision. That's the truth. Mark your body like a native putting on war paint, like a Maori stenciling their skin with a pattern. Think of your act as this act of dedication. The Latin root of the word religion is to bind oneself to something. Religion does not mean as much what one is bound to. The word religious is to bind oneself, the very act of commitment itself. While you're making a little stencil on your body, if you're courageous enough, quit looking around. You're not allowed to show yours on the patio. Nope. True. Let's pretend a few weeks have passed. Pick a date a couple weeks out in your mind. July 1st, whatever, as the time to unveil your new idea, whether big or small. For those who've chosen a new idea and allowed it to steep for a couple weeks, or whatever the amount of time is, and it still feels good, it might be helpful to articulate this to someone. I would wait on this for a little bit. Make it not someone terribly close, particularly if it affects them in their life. Make it an acquaintance from your bowling league or your yoga class or someone at the coffee shop you like. Then swear them to secrecy and tell them your plan. Don't make it anyone close to you that would be affected by this, big or small. Don't make it embarrassing. Make it someone from a distance. If you want to use me as your sounding board, I promise not to put it in the newsletter or share it at Joys and Concerns. You can use me if you like. If you're unwilling to write on your skin a simple word or a phrase or a symbol that will disappear in the shower in a couple days, think about how unwilling you will be to make the steps it takes to change yourself. It's a challenge. For those unwilling to do the relatively childish act of writing on your body, you have just discovered how willing you are to change your life, and you are likely not. Either way, that's good to know. Doesn't matter that you should change or shouldn't change. How you feel about that probably matters. If that feels okay and I'm not willing to mark my body, good, you're content. Make a note on your sheet that you wrote down 6 months from now to take a peek at this and see if you're still in that same position or you still feel haunted by your vision. For those who feel unsettled, let's add a different test. Let's work backwards from somewhere a little closer to the end of your life than you are right now. Here's another way to approach adult transitions in my little graduation speech here. I want everyone to close their eyes. Before you give up too easily, take the time to work backwards. Pretend your life is coming to an end. Maybe that's even true. However, if it does not feel that close for you, work towards the feeling that it is. Imagine yourself older than you are right now and less capable of making moves for all the ways you are. I want to imagine you right now with the reality that the ability to make independent decisions and moves has passed. The opportunity to be a different person has passed you by. Imagine as best you can what life looks like when you have no more real choices to make. What metaphoric hill that only you know you wanted to climb did you climb? And what one did you not? Imagine in the context of your dream, your vision, whether big or small, that has tempted your consciousness today was something you passed on in this moment. Are you content to not have taken the chance to act today when presented with it? Can you forgive yourself and likely understand that in your present context, on this day, you made the decision to pass on that dream? The answer is, how much you want to change is really that question. Okay, we're done. It's a lot of hard work to fall into on a Sunday. The rest of the journey is up to you. Hopefully that was helpful. Darcy is going to come forward and share a similar themed reading with us from down over there.
So you're used to having a offertory humor usually after he finishes his sermon, but we're changing it up today. He gave me this reading to do. Though I would just like to say, when Abraham played that hymn and sang it, I thought, you know, if there is such a thing as hell and I wind up going there, there'll be a choir singing hymns and I'll have to sit in a chair with a mask on and not be able to sing.
Exactly.
Anyway, this is
microphone.
This is author unknown, this reading. You know, time has a way of moving quickly and catching you unaware of the passing years. It seems just yesterday that I was young, just married, and embarking on my new life with my mate. Yet in a way, it seems like eons ago, and I wonder where all the years went. I know that I lived them all. I have glimpses of how it was back then and of all my hopes and all my dreams. But here it is, the winter of my life, and it catches me by surprise. How did I get here so fast? Where did the years go? And where did my youth go? I remember well seeing older people through the years and thinking that those older people were years away from me, and that winter was so far off that I could not fathom it or imagine fully what it would be like. But here it is. My friends are retired and getting gray. They move slower, and I see an older person now. Some are in better and some worse shape than me, but I see the great change. Not like the ones that I remember who are young and vibrant, but like me, their age is beginning to show, and we are now those older folks that we used to see and thought we'd never be. Each day now, I find that just getting a shower is a real target for the day. And taking a nap is not a treat anymore, it's mandatory. Because if I don't on my own free will, I will just fall asleep where I sit. And so, now I enter this new season of my life unprepared for all the aches and pains and the loss of strength and ability to go and do the things that I wish I had done but never did. But at least I know that though the winter has come, and I'm not sure how long it will last, This I know, that when it's over on this earth, it's over. A new adventure will begin. Yes, I have regrets. There are things I wish I hadn't done, things I should have done. But indeed, there are many things that I'm so happy that I've done. It's all in a lifetime. So if you're not in your winter yet, let me remind you that it will be here faster than you think. So whatever you would like to accomplish in your life, please do it quickly. Don't put things off for too long. Life goes by quickly. So do what you can today, as you can never be sure whether this is your winter or not. You have no promise that you will see all the seasons of your life, so live for today. And say all the things that you want your loved ones to remember, and hope that they appreciate and love you for all the things that you've done for them in all the years past. Life is a gift to you. The way you live your life is your gift to those who come after. Make it a fantastic one.
Thank you, Darcy. We're going to do a split plate today, thank you, Darcy, for the Holding India project, which is, I think they're great. I'm probably going to, at some point in my life, sneak away and go spend 6 months over there. They worked where there was a family, the Holdings, they were a couple, and they went and worked with the Untouchables in India and since the mid-'80s, and they're been rallying COVID support to different groups from their spot in India, which has been a nightmare for the last, who knows, whatever. So there's information about how you can donate to them up there. You can put a check with a, percentage of stuff going to Holding in the collection plate, which is sort of back at the, the doors. You can, whatever, hand me a check, we'll get it to them. And we'll split whatever the offering is with, that's unassigned with Holding for the collection today. Okay. Take it away.
That was a Sunday kind of love, I believe.
You are correct.
And happy birthday to Sarah and Abraham both.
Sarah's birthday is yesterday and mine is today, so
That's cool.
we get to party for 2 days for the rest of our lives.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
And they're getting married here on August 14th.
That's right. Thank you.
A Sunday kind of love. Would you please follow me with the affirmation of gratitude? Is it up there? Yes. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
Amen. True enough. Let's see. I should know what happens next, and it's a closing hymn. But I suggest we actually, well, let's save the closing hymn, because we're running a little late. And we'll do a responsive reading here with just me. Is it a responsive reading? Did we get that up there? We didn't, did we? I think I blew that. Let's save the hymn because we're late. I'm just going to read through John Millspaugh's We Paced Walled Gardens as our closing words. All too often we pace the geometries of our walled gardens. You actually, get up here, Darcy. We'll do this together. All too often we pace the geometries of our walled gardens,
Believing we are traversing the whole of creation.
with spirits of discovery, let us uncover the mysteries nested in our routines.
With the eagerness of children, let us seek out the secrets unfolding in our peripheral vision.
Let us behold each fellow creature with reverence.
Let us greet each day with praise and thanksgiving.
For life is a gift of incomprehensible magnitude.
Our lives are voyages with unknowable destinations. Along the way, let us meet, kiss, challenge, and support one another well.
Let us fashion a network of mutuality and extend it into the larger world. In these ways, we forge lives of goodness and beauty.
In these ways, we know the life of prayer.
Amen. Postlude us, Mr. Abraham.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it, want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Thank you.
Don't give up.
Still working on that.
All right. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.